I am a big proponent of, if we truly want Knoxville to be not just more affordable, but to be truly freer,
right,
which every American loves, then we cannot keep designing around just the car. You can allow the car to exist, but in the same way that I think most people would agree it's probably a good thing there aren't sidewalks on I-40, because that's not a place for people. There should be places like Market Square that you can't drive through. Right. And equally true is there should be some streets that are designed where maybe it's a little harder to drive down in a car, but if it makes a bus quicker, and it makes it so that more people are taking the bus, what we have to remind ourselves too as drivers is that every person that gets on a bus is one less car on the road.
What's up? It's me, Haley Jones of the Big Orange Business Podcast, and I'm here with Dustin Durham of the Knoxville Transportation Authority.
Correct.
It's confusing because there's CAT and KTA, okay? So I'm just going to say that on the front end, and we're going to get that addressed.
Yep.
But you're the chair for the Knoxville Transportation Authority.
As of January, yes.
How does it feel?
Powerful.
Oh, powerful.
and not as powerful as you would think, though. It feels powerful, but not as powerful as you would, I would want.
Okay, what are we do rapid fire first, so we'll do a little bit different because it's, whatever. But what are 4 or 5 things that people should know about the Knoxville Transportation Authority that they don't know?
Sure.
Yeah, tell us.
Okay, let's figure this out. 4 or 5 things. Number one, like you said, the KTA and CAT are the same thing, but they're not. Okay. So I am on the KTA. The KTA is the appointed board, so the mayor appointed me.
Yeah.
Mainly because I kept emailing the city for 7 years, and I was like, I want to be in a committee, I want to serve my community, and I think they were finally like, oh, this guy. So we're appointed, and we are the ones that are in charge of setting the different routes and the fares for the system. We deal with that stuff. Okay. But it is the CAT buses that we do that to.
Got it.
So that's number one, is they're the same, but they're not. Number two is there's an app called Transit. Mm-hmm. A lot of cities use it. That's how we use our bus system now to pay and to do stuff. So we'll still, for the time being, take change, take cash, but it has to be exact. We can't give change because we're trying to move cashless because it helps the buses run quicker and stuff. But if you download Transit, it has live trackers on the buses, shows you where everything is, super convenient. So that's how we get around, is we use Transit. Let's see, number 3, we used to have, and I'll get more into this hopefully in the interview, but we used to have a lot more of a robust transit system, like a lot of US cities, and we've kind of seen it shrink over the years, but hoping I can use what little power I have to make it better. So hopefully big changes are coming. But CAT Reimagined was something that happened, I think, 2 years ago, where we completely overhauled it, so we could focus on getting the people where they needed to go based on where people actually were, more people, making it more efficient. And then, oh God, what's the 4th thing? The 4th thing. So it's been on the horizon for 5 years now, but soon I've been told we're getting our first ABC, which is an accelerated bus corridor, which is basically some places call it bus rapid transit. It's a bit different here. But basically it's going to be on Broadway. It's supposed to happen in the next 1 to 5 years, but it's going to make service, cut it down from half an hour to 15 minutes, because what's going to happen is it's only going to stop at 3 stops, right? So you'll still have the normal bus, but if you just need to get from here to Fountain City, you can hop on, and because it only stops 2 places, it zooms quicker. So that's coming.
Cool.
So get excited about that.
Yeah. So you're not Knoxville native, or you are?
At this point, I claim it, because this summer will mark the halfway point of my life. I moved here for UT at 18. I'm turning 36.
So okay,
I'm a native.
Yeah, so because I think, to me, as someone that's a Knoxville native, I think that, how can I say this? Transportation here is not really
feasible.
Yeah. Because you pretty much, I feel like you very much have to have a car unless you're in certain places.
100%.
So talk to us about that. Talk to us about transportation in Knoxville. What should people kind of know and understand?
Okay, how do I say this that is friendly for people who aren't nerds like me? So they'll watch and listen. So the main thing to understand about transit, and I've been trying. So my background is not transit, other than I nerd out about it.
Yeah.
My degree's in architecture, but in another universe, I would be an urban planner.
Yeah.
So I love cities. Because I'm from West Virginia, but I grew up near the capital of Charleston, so we go there a lot, and I just, everything about cities, I'm extroverted.
Yeah.
I love cities, I love buildings, and so I hate paying for gas, which is also part of why I love transit.
Right.
Especially in this day and age when it just keeps going up, the price.
Yes.
But the thing that people need to understand is that transit cannot work well if you have bad land use. And so basically, because if you want to get from point A to point B efficiently, right, you have to, because this is a public service that we all use, that is for all of us, you have to have a critical number of people that are able to use it.
Right.
Because whether you or I use it or not, if other people are using it, that justifies us being able to spend budget money to, say, hire more drivers and buy more buses, which then means the bus, instead of coming every half hour, comes every 5 minutes.
Right.
And because of that frequency, that's when people will use it.
Right.
The best example that I've heard, the best kind of picture to put in your mind of what will and will not make good transit, I mean, again, it comes back to land use, but tied to that is, when you have good land use, it allows that frequency. And if you don't have that frequency, it's not convenient. People aren't going to use it. So imagine if, say we lived in this like a crazy, like North Korea, crazy dystopian government was in charge of every aspect of our lives, and they said, hey, you own a car, but everyone's driveway has a gate on it. And that gate only unlocks once an hour for you to travel. It's the same when a bus only comes once an hour.
Right.
Because you only have that option of getting around once an hour.
Right.
But if it was so frequent that even if that gate was there, if it opened every 5 minutes, it's basically like the gate doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right? So we have to get to a point where we have more frequency, but if you don't have, and for some reason, and again, I'm a city boy, so this is not a bad word to me, but for some people it's a 4-letter curse word you can't say to grandma, you have to have more density, right?
Yeah.
And what a lot of people also don't understand is they'll hear that and they think like, well, I like the vibe of Knoxville, I don't want a 12-story apartment tower in my neighborhood, without understanding that, by definition, density can be a townhome.
Yeah.
Right? Like that is by definition more dense than a single family home.
Right.
Right? If you can take a plot of land and you can say like, hey, I mean, and we've got enough studies now that like millennials, like people at my age who are like under 45, like we want these in our neighborhood, mainly because they're cheaper than a single family home, because a developer can build it and get more money back, so the price can be lower. But it's like, if you have a plot of land that has a house like this, right, that was built 100 years ago when people had 35 kids, and people, nothing wrong with living in a house like this, but it's not as many people want it, that if you can take that same piece of land and put 5 townhomes on it, suddenly you have more density. You just do. And so that is conducive to better transit. And so if we want to have a city that has better transit, we've got to change land use. Which is why I'm really excited. A lot of people might not know this. There's actually a thing right now called What's Next Knoxville that's going on. Y'all should definitely interview somebody from the planning about that. But basically, there's this thing called a comprehensive plan, which it's only done every, I think in the state of Tennessee, it's every 25 years. So it shapes the way the city develops for the next generation. And we just started 2 weeks ago this process of getting public input. What do we want to see? And so we've got to make sure we get this right, so we can get transit right. Because the thing is, and please shut me up if you have a question, because this is my baby.
This is fascinating.
I love talking about this almost as much as Halloween. I love talking about this stuff.
That's a plug for the Knoxville All Hallows Youth Society.
Watch the video, listen to the podcast. We just wrapped up. So one of the things that I am very passionate about, you actually caught me at a good time. A good time because on Saturday I was in a car wreck. I am fine. Got a little knock on the head, but I'm fine. But I came around a curve, long story short, hit a pothole. Next thing I know, my car is halfway up on a guardrail. It's total. It's total. And like most good millennials, I'm broke as hell. So I don't know right now when I've got a rental. The car I drove is a rental from Geico. And that's a very real thing that a lot of people have to deal with, because we've designed for the last 100 years an entire country where, unless you're in 3 cities, like Chicago, New York, or DC, you have to have a car to get around. And so I'm freaking out right now because I don't know, my car's most likely totaled. Geico's gonna give me some money to buy a new one, but I don't know. It's just that whole process, right? And I'm very lucky that my current actual job, I work from home, so I don't have to drive that much.
Yeah.
But I'm a very firm believer that from a moral perspective, we should not be designing a city where you have to own a car. It should be 100% optional, right? Like I'm a local muralist, so I often have to haul paint cans around town, so I do need a car.
Right.
And what I want people to hear is like building a city for transit, and being pro-transit is not anti-car, it's pro-choice, right? Is what it is, because at the end of the day, if you go to cities that have good transit, like Washington, D.C. as an example, or New York or Chicago, there's still plenty of cars.
Totally.
People drive, but if you have a scenario like I'm having right now, you don't have to worry about, oh God, what if I can't afford a car right now, and then I can't get to work and I'll lose my job, or my kids can't go to school. So I am a big proponent of, if we truly want Knoxville to be not just more affordable, but to be truly freer, which every American loves, then we cannot keep designing around just the car. You can allow the car to exist, but in the same way that I think most people would agree it's probably a good thing there aren't sidewalks on I-40, because that's not a place for people. There should be places like Market Square that you can't drive through, right? And equally true is there should be some streets that are designed where maybe it's a little harder to drive down in a car, but if it makes a bus quicker, and it makes it so that more people are taking the bus, what we have to remind ourselves too as drivers is that every person that gets on a bus is one less car on the road. So better transit helps everybody, including people who just don't want to ever take the bus. Like if you just never want, or because of where you live, there's no bus near you. It's helpful for you too, for more people to be riding the bus. And so the better we can make our transit system, the more it's gonna help everybody, whether you live like I do in North Knoxville, where I can scooter or bike or take the bus or drive or walk. Like I have 5 options, which is 5 times more freedom than I have when I lived in West Hills. No offense to West Hills, it's just the way it's designed. But I want that for everybody. I want everybody in Knoxville to have that choice. And so for us to have that choice though, we have to make sure that our zoning is correct and our land use is correct. Because there's a whole tangent that I can also go down, but basically the way that our current zoning is written, a lot of times, it almost forces people to build for only the car.
That's interesting.
Because like as an example, a lot of, and again, shut me up please.
No, you're great.
A lot of people don't realize that ever since like the 1930s, 40s, most US cities, a lot of cities are starting to change this finally, thank God. Most US cities in our code, you are required to build a certain amount of parking for whatever you do, whether it's a donut shop, whether it's a house, whether it's a funeral home. And the amount of parking that you have to provide is 100% just pulled out of somebody's ass. There's no
like rhyme or reason.
There's no algorithm, there's no logic. There's a really good nonprofit based out of, I think, Seattle or Portland, called the Parking Reform Network. And their whole thing is like, hey, if we continue with these old ass codes, we're never gonna have a truly free country to get around the way we wanna choose. Because as an example they use, and I actually had the guy who runs this nonprofit speak last year to the KTA board, he like zoomed in. He said that he was looking, and as an example, if you were building a bowling alley here in Knoxville, the way our code is written is you have to, it's really funny, you have to have like 2 parking spaces per bowling lane. But in Maryville, you have to have 3 parking spaces per bowler. Like it's just random. It's weird. Totally random. The guy's name is Tony Jordan. He said one of his favorites is actually looking up like funeral homes. Because sometimes it'll be like, you have to have 1 parking space per coroner, and then another is like you have to have 2 parking spaces per casket in the funeral home. Like it's weird. It's really weird and nonsensical.
Weird,
And so one of the things that we need to do, and again, what I love is cities that are very, very big, cities that are very small, cities in blue states, cities in red states, cities of all sizes have started to abolish these. Because what it doesn't do is tell you you can't build parking. But what it does do is say, hey, there's no rhyme or reason to this. So it should be on, say you wanted to add a great example. Say you have a house, you have a nice backyard, and you want to build what's called an ADU, an accessory dwelling unit. Say you have an aging, mother. You want you don't want to live with her, but you want her to be close. So you want to build this little cottage in the backyard, right? Or you've got a son in college and he has friends, and you want to rent it out. He's got a little freedom. You can kind of make some income off of him or whatever. Right now, if you build one of those, you have to provide a parking spot, which a lot of people are like, okay, well, it's just one, but also what if you live in a neighborhood where there's street parking? Right? Well, one, if you have to provide that parking space, on average, a parking space costs like $6,000 to build, at least commercially, maybe not residentially, but it adds to the cost, which then adds to things like our housing prices, right? But if you took that away, you would still have the freedom. It's your property. You could put in a parking space if you wanted. But it's up to your discretion. Right. And so like one of the things that we should be changing is saying, especially in parts of town like this that are already on bus lines, you shouldn't be required to build any parking, right? Again, you can if you think it works better for your bottom line, but if there's street parking around, that's public. There's nothing different. That's we pay taxes to keep the roads paved, which means if I am driving to South Knoxville to visit a friend, there's a reason that I'm allowed to park on the street there, right? Because it's my tax dollars going to work. So if you're building, a new, set of townhomes or something, you shouldn't have to provide parking because there's street parking, because what that does is it lowers the cost, it increases the density, which then means that we can have better transit. It's all, there's a lot of layers, but it's all connected.
Okay, do people push back on the parking thing? Because I feel like, I'm gonna throw my husband right under the bus, okay?
Pun intended.
But parking, oh my God, not really even just him, but it seems like people are like, there's nowhere to park, blah.
Yeah.
So what would you say back to those people?
Yeah, no, it's a valid question. So obviously it depends where you're going, and I think kind of going back to what I just said about public parking, I think there's a time and a place like the old Sevier neighborhood in between Sevier Avenue and Suttree Landing. Like, I think it's totally rational and reasonable to allow, to put up signs that say, like, you have to have a residential permit. A lot of other cities do this. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. That said, though, even within that permit, anyone that has that residential permit that lives there can park anywhere. Like, it's there's still that freedom.
Still that freedom,
So what it comes down to, and I've always tried, since I've been kind of in this space, I've been on the KTA for a few years now, I deal with a lot of kind of advocacy for urban planning. And so I've got, like I think a lot of people who have like something that they're passionate about, I've got this part of my brain that's like, oh, okay, how do I educate people on this and just be loving and rational? And then there's the part of my brain that's like, you stupid son of a bitch. You know what I mean? It's and so they're always battling. And so, because like, it's one of those things when you know something, like how can you not see it? But I'm also in this world. So the reality, let me put on my educator hat. What it comes down to is and I'm counting myself in this, we as Americans are lazy. And you can ask if you ever go to Europe, they will be happily tell you that we're lazy. We have the capacity to walk much further than we give ourselves credit for. No, but really, no, hold on. We do. And I'm not saying you gotta park a mile and a half away. But the reality is, you can overlay, one of the most fascinating things for me, I saw this when I was at UT's College of Architecture, you can overlay West Town Mall on downtown, like a map of it, okay? If you were to park, say you're going to Market Square for something, if you were to park at Dwight Kessel, the garage that's kind of by the Gay Street Bridge, which is in downtown proper, is the furthest garage from Market Square. If you were to park there and walk to Market Square, it is a shorter walk than if you on Black Friday drove to West Town Mall and parked at the furthest away parking space in West Town Mall's lot. But it's psychological, because in our minds, we say, because we've been suburbanized for the last 80 years, so we say, I drove to the mall. The mall is my destination. And so part of it's education and marketing, right? You have to say, your destination is not the Sephora in the mall, even if that's where you're going. You say, I drove to the mall. So you're willing to walk across that big ass lot. But in our minds, for some reason, we don't say, I'm driving to downtown. We say, I'm driving to Downtown Grill and Brewery, so I don't want to park at Dwight Kessel, even though that's a shorter walk than if you park at Market Square.
And it's going to be easier to get out of than some of the other parking garages.
This is my local like, if you know, you know. That garage is never full.
I know.
I always tell people, because here's the thing too I like to let people understand, is that when we built the new Smoky Stadium, there were dozens of studies done about parking, and I've obviously read them because I'm a nerd. And one of the things is that it always pisses me off when people are like, there's no parking downtown, because again, there is, it's just not where you think it should be or where you want it to be. Because take for example, Rossini Festival. It's like, to my knowledge, one of, if not the biggest festival in terms of attendance that we have downtown. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. I was going downtown, didn't know it was Rossini weekend because it's just never been on my radar. No offense to Rossini. And so I went to Dwight Kessel during one of the busiest weekends downtown has. And they've got the readers on the garages that show you how many spaces there are. There were 950 spaces in that garage for the busiest. But because people in their brains are used to this kind of suburbanized, you drive right where you need to go. They say there's nowhere to park at Market Square or State Street. So there's no parking downtown. There is. It's just you might have to walk an extra 3 minutes, God forbid. Another important thing though is that there's this, within kind of urbanism circles, there is this city planner named Jeff Speck. And he wrote this book that's become kind of famous called Walkable City. And he basically talks about what are the 10 things that make a city walkable, like make you able to not have a car. And what's funny to me is some of them are very common sense, but it's one of those where until you actually read it or hear it said, you're like, oh yeah, duh, because it's so common. And so one of the things he talks about is if you're gonna tell people that they have to walk, it has to be a pleasant walk. Right? They can't feel like they're gonna be shivved in the back every 30 feet. And so one of the things that I have been trying for years to push the city and the Downtown Alliance to do is we have the Dwight Kessel Garage as an asset that's never full. But if you could technically walk up to Gay Street, but is that Central State Street right there? It's garage, empty lot, garage now because there's the hotel. Like even if you put a few murals on the garages, selfless plug as a muralist, even if you put some murals there and some street lights, like I'm a 35-year-old white man and I don't like walking that street at night, right? Like imagine it like if you're like an 80-year-old woman or something, you're like, would you let your 12-year-old daughter or son do, you know what I mean? Like if I don't feel super safe doing it, like, and I'm in the riskiest category or whatever there is, then why would anyone else, right? So the reality is though that there is parking. We just have to remind ourselves that we have to reshape our framing, especially when it comes to downtown, that downtown is the destination. Again, I mean, look at something like Disney World. Their parking lots are massive, but people are driving to Disney. They're not just driving to Main Street at Disney, right? But hand in hand with that is what do they have at Disney? Shuttles that pick you up, right? So part of it is also kind of figuring out how transit plays into that. And like we do have a shuttle now that will go to the Langley Garage, which is the one that's kind of behind Union Avenue Books and all that stuff, the big ugly one. So they do have a shuttle now, a cat bus that will take people to the stadium, which is nice. This is nice, But I'm trying to work through the KTA to say like, is there a way we can do that where, for example, if you're at the Dwight Kessel Garage and you hop on the cat bus to go to the Smoky Stadium, can you take your parking ticket with you, have it stamped at the game or something, you get out for free? Oh yeah. You know what I mean? So which would be smart. Yeah. So anyway, that's what I would say is like there is parking. It's just we have to collectively retrain our brains to remind ourselves that like, for most of us, and obviously there are some people, I've had back problems, there are some people with mobility issues. This is, that you always need to provide things for them, whether it's a handicap spot or ideally good transit. But for the vast majority of us, honey, God gave you 2 legs, use them. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I'm sorry, but that's what it comes down to. Real talk. Like real talk. That's so funny. Okay, this might be a very dumb question. Then I'll give a dumb answer. I'm joking. Okay, Knoxville Transportation Authority is City of Knoxville only? Yes. Not Knox County? Correct. Okay, so will you I guess I just point that out because a lot of people relocating here, like if you're from here, you think like, oh, Knoxville is Knoxville, which it is, but it's not. Yeah. So kind of tell us like, I guess I just want clarification on Knoxville Transportation Authority, like what does it serve, I guess? So, I hope I'm not getting this wrong. So the CAT system, the CAT buses, the big buses, they serve City of Knoxville. But there are also some other things. So there's the Lyft service, which is essentially like a public Uber, right? Okay. It's one where if you have mobility issues or the bus stops like a half mile away. Yeah. Which another to go back to my last point, another thing people don't realize is I think because we're in our cars so much, we kind of have lost track of human scale of things. And so like a lot of times people will hear like this is a half mile away, not understanding that a half mile is only a 10-minute walk.
Right.
Right? Like that's not that far. So in transit planning, the goal is everybody should be ideally within a quarter mile. That's a 5-minute walk of a bus stop. Because again, most of us can do that, right? But say you just absolutely can't and you need to get somewhere, you can call the Lyft and they basically will come. It's like a shuttle. Like
and you've seen them. If you've been in, you've seen them. You just don't realize. But it says on the side, like it says
Cat Lyft. Yeah. And then I think it's called Ethra, but there is a thing within the county that's similar to Lyft that can get you around. But to my knowledge, again, I don't deal with the county. To my knowledge, I don't think those are what's called fixed routes, like on a map. I think it's similar to kind of just Uber, you call whatever. Now, ideally, what my dream would be is that we would have some sort of a regional transit network. Right. So one of my kind of pet projects right now that I definitely want to plug, so anyone who has the power to help me make this happen can. I am, in my official capacity as chair, I've met with the mayor about this. I've met with at least 2 city council people. I am trying to get us funding so that ideally next summer, maybe all next year, budget season is weird, we deserve to have a bus from downtown to the airport.
Love it. Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on.
Yeah.
And ideally it would be something similar to where like maybe if you park at Dwight Kessel, you can get a special ticket so that parking there is free or 50% off.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like even if we charge like $30 to ride this bus, that's cheaper than an Uber. It's cheaper than parking at the airport.
Right.
But people don't realize.
And right now, parking at the airport ain't great.
Yeah. And we used to have I don't know about to the airport, but we used to have service in the county.
Right.
Right. So it's like, how do we work with the county to help again them understand that? From my perspective, this is everything's political in terms of its policy, but this is not a partisan issue because a Democrat, a Republican, a Libertarian, an Independent, like all benefit from riding the bus.
Right.
Right. We all, again, even if they're people who don't actively ride the bus, they all benefit from other people riding the bus and us having better transit. So yeah, when it comes to the county, CAT doesn't serve the county, but I would love for us to get to a point where it did again.
Yeah. Very cool. So just in terms of like, the long-term vision for transportation in Knoxville, like over the next, I know you said there's, this plan going on that's every 25 years or so. Like, so one of the things you mentioned is that ABC where it's just like a quick route, like almost like an express route, basically. Are there other things that people should keep their eyes open for? Or like if they have concerns about transportation, like what should they know now about what's happening in transportation? And if there are concerns, like who do they go to? What do they do?
So if you have concerns on the CAT website, they've got a contact number. You can absolutely, that's the best place to go for, because again, I'm not CAT staff. I will say though, one of the things that I'm trying to do is to be more, to use this position to be public facing, right? Because I'm not an elected official, but as an appointed official, I still take this job very seriously. I wish they paid me. I take this role very seriously. And so I've actually started this series of bus rides called Ride the Routes with KTA. So far it's just been me. My other commissioners haven't been able to make it, but the goal is that like myself and anyone or everyone ideally that's a commissioner, basically once a month after our meeting, which is always I think it's the 4th Thursday of the month, except for like November, I think, because of Thanksgiving. But basically after our meetings, we're just riding a different route until all the routes are ridden, just so we can experience it, so other people can experience it. If people have Instagram, I made one just for myself as chair. It's called @KTA_Dustin. And then I also made an email that's just DustinTheBusGuy@gmail.com. So I've had a few people email me. I need to email them back. I've been dealing with my car stuff, so I haven't emailed them back. But I'm definitely open. I cannot promise that I know the answer to everything just because of my role. But in terms of like long-term things to look forward to, the biggest way right now that we can improve our bus system is through this comprehensive plan. Because again, we have to get land use right. And what I am hoping and what I have talked to the mayor and others about is I also would love to see, once we get this comprehensive plan done, we basically need a forward-looking vision plan for the bus system, because to my knowledge, we've never had one. It's always been reactive.
Yeah.
And in the same way, we have like the tree plan now to like increase the tree canopy. I was on the steering committee for the new bike facilities plan. So to get better bike lanes and stuff in town, make it safer to cycle around. But that's forward-looking, and it says here are, you know, the 25 projects that'll kind of change the way you get around Knoxville on a bike. I want to see us fund a study that gets public input and says, okay, in 2050, what does Knoxville look like? If I move to Knoxville in 2045, 2046, 20 years from now, right?
Yeah.
And I, for whatever reason, can't drive, don't want to drive, can't have a car, can't afford a car, but I also can't, because we say we just didn't build enough housing, I can't live in North Knoxville, I have to live out in Bearden or something. Yeah. Can I reasonably get around without a car, right? We deserve to have a plan like that. So I'm trying to push us so that we can have a plan that says, what will it take to get, we shouldn't have a single bus line that has less than 10-minute service. Because if you want people to ride it, it has to be reliable, right? Right. So like the fact that we have certain bus lines, and this is not throwing, no pun intended, cat under the bus. They're great people. It's not their fault. Right. We just don't have the money. Hit me up, Dolly Parton. That's what I've been saying. I'm just like, listen, she's got a kids hospital. Can we just put her butterflies on our buses? Like whatever it takes. But if you have a bus that comes again every once an hour, no one's going to take it. I've been in that position where a handful of years ago, I had another car break down on me. I went like 2 years in this town without a car. It's not easy, and I live in South Knoxville, which is close to downtown. Right. It's not easy, and there was one time I missed my bus, and I was like, oh. Well, the next bus, this was only I think half-hour service, but I was just like, oh, well, it's raining, so I'll just walk back up the hill and call in sick. You know what I mean? Like, but some people can't do that because what if they don't have PTO or sick days or whatever? So again, for me, it's like a moral issue. We have to make it so that you're not reliant on a car, and so we have to collectively, though, make the city understand we value this, and we have to make the city understand that we want. Again, we're not banning cars, but we're saying, hey, we shouldn't be forced to drive. One of the best things that helps me grapple with and share with other people kind of the absurdity of how we've designed America is, imagine if, whether a Democrat or a Republican, imagine if a president said, you know what, it is rough out here, life is tough, we are gonna start charging you a new life tax of $12,000 a year just for living. It'd be absurd, and people would rightfully riot. Right. $12,000 is the average that every American spends on a car every year, between gas and insurance and upkeep, right? I don't think that is moral. I don't think that is an affordable way to live. Again, if you want to spend that and drive, more power to you. Right. But the fact that for most of us we have to, because the way we've designed our city, I don't think that's right. Yeah. You know, like this again, because I've had car issues and I don't have a car right now. I've got a rental. Like I take this, and I grew up in a trailer, poor family, working class. Like I take this to heart. And so one of the things that I just want to encourage people is, yes, get involved with this comprehensive plan, but also push the city to get enough density in the right places. It can be on our existing corridors, right? Like if you live in a neighborhood, and again, no one is saying they're gonna build a 12-story tower in the middle of West Hills, but equally true is Chapman Highway, Kingston Pike, Magnolia, these corridors that buses are already on. Right. There's nothing wrong with putting a 6 or an 8-story building there, because then you're gonna have more people riding on the bus, and you're going to make it so that people, it's a, what do they call it? It's a virtuous cycle, right? So you increase it, the ability for people to ride the bus, then more people do ride the bus comes more frequently, and then you can keep developing there. So it's really a win for everybody, because if you want to stay and live out in kind of the country and pretend that, you know, you're, as my brother would say, my closest neighbor is 3 miles away, you can keep that. But for those of us who don't want to own a car, right? Or just hate driving and paying for gas, like there are then places for us to live. It's just, it's giving people more choices. But we have to collectively call city council, call the mayor, say, you know, we need to find ways to get more money in the budget. Because at the end of the day, we just don't have the money, you know, and that's what it comes down to. There are plenty of ways that cities have done, whether it's through, like Nashville as an example, just passed a transit tax, which I'm not saying we need to do here, but it's, I think, worth looking at, because it's essentially like for every dollar, it's like a half of a penny, but it only goes to bus stuff. You know what I mean? So stuff that, you know, it's like, yeah, it might be a little extra expense, but if it's making traffic better, which
Right.
it would because
Right.
bus, so like there are a lot of things to look at. But yeah, the main thing, comprehensive plan, and then just be in conversation with your appointed and your elected officials and make people know, like, I want 20 years in the future, if, Lord willing and the creek don't rise, as my grandma would say, if I'm still here, that I don't want to have to move to Chicago to live without a car. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
we deserve to have that life here.
Yeah.
One of the things that I would love to see, and I do think it's possible in my lifetime, it might not be till I'm 80, but like I think we could see a streetcar here again. I've got another nonprofit, a local nonprofit called Yes Knoxville that deals with this stuff, like urban planning stuff. And one of the things that we're pushing for is to bring Amtrak back. So like that's not within the city, but it would still help.
Right.
Because if you didn't have to drive to Nashville, right? Like that would still take cars off. How many cars would that take off the interstate?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that could give us space for buses. What if some cities will do a like an HOV lane.
Yeah.
Right? Well, what if we had an HOV lane, but like it was, only, you had to have a special permit or it was a bus.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So there's plenty of creative ways to do this. The main thing, though, to encourage people, get involved with this comprehensive plan and then just be in conversations with folks like the mayor, city council, KTA, and just say, hey, I value this. I, value being able to get around town in a way that is not a car.
Okay. And then just want to reiterate the point that when you talk about density, it's a mutually beneficial idea. Because when you have more density, then you have more demand for transportation, which means less cars on the road. Like I said, you're kind of taking off to add on, if that makes sense.
Exactly, because a lot of people, and I don't blame them for this because I am terrible at math myself, but a lot of people, they hear or they see the concept of like a new, 4-story, 5-story apartment building, and because of the way we've designed our city the last 80 years, and because we're American, we assume every single person in that new housing development is going to drive, and they're going to drive alone, right? But if you strategically develop and build these, there's a specific type of development called a TOD. It's transit-oriented development. So most places will do it around rail. You can do it around buses too. But as an example, if you took some of these old, say like the shopping center on Broadway where Kroger's at, that's like my Kroger, right? If you redevelop that, because it's mostly empty parking lot all the time anyway, and it's by a major bus stop, that if you redevelop that to be a cute little walkable town center with 3 or 4-story buildings and shops and stuff, because it's by a bus line, more people will be able to easily use the bus, right? So again, it is a chicken and egg thing though, because, like I said earlier, you can build a new apartment building or a townhome by a bus stop, but if that bus comes once an hour,
what's it matter?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's a push and a pull, and at the end of the day, we do have to take our 5 or 6 main corridors: Central, Broadway, Magnolia, Chapman, Kingston, and we have to focus the development there, because that's where the capacity is anyway, because those roads are wider anyway, right? And in theory, that's going to work out because you've got all these other neighborhood roads that people can filter through anyway. Things get crazy. But yeah, it comes down to we have to almost at the same time be increasing the frequency, but also changing our zoning so it works hand in hand. Because as let me put it this way: take a city like Chicago or New York, excellent transit. 2 of the biggest, I think the biggest and like the 5th biggest or whatever, New York and Chicago city in the country, right? There are naturally more cars because there's more people. But if you compare those 2 cities to cities like Charlotte and Atlanta, who don't really have transit. I mean, they both have a train system, but it's not as robust, right? Because those were mainly designed around cars. Both a ranking you see on paper and just experientially, those 2 southern cities, not because they're southern, but those 2 cities, Atlanta and Charlotte, traffic's much worse than New York and Chicago. And it's not because there's more people, it's because it was designed around the car. Right?
Makes sense, yeah.
Because again, New York and Chicago, I'm not saying there's not traffic, because there is.
Right, yeah.
But you have the option to get out and not drive.
And not,
Charlotte and Atlanta, you almost exclusively have to drive. which is why, I mean, it's the same with Los Angeles. Los Angeles used to have a robust transit system, and then they ripped out all the streetcars. Fun history. A bunch of car companies literally bought the streetcars because they said, we want to make more money. And so they bought the streetcar companies, they ripped out the streetcars, and that's why traffic in LA is so bad now, is because there was this literal conspiracy of car companies that did not want to try to compete with public transit.
Yeah.
So they bought the company and then said, oh no, we're gonna close the company down. And so they didn't have transit for like 40 years. And now it's a hellscape for anyone who's ever been there. It's just you don't want to get around because you can't drive, right?
Right.
So it's like, we know Knoxville's growing. I think it's like 40,000 people or something are projected to move here in the next like 30 years. I'm a city boy. I love the growth. I welcome the new neighbors. It's not, I want us to understand that like we can and should, as an inclusive city, as a southern city, we should be welcoming.
Right.
But there's a good way and a bad way to grow.
Yeah.
And the bad way to grow is to not give people options about how to get around. And if you build a good, robust transit system, you're giving people more freedom because again, they can still drive, but if they choose not to, they can survive.
Right.
And it's frequent. And then the people who do choose to drive, there's less cars on the road, so it's better for them too.
Love it.
So.
Which I feel like as East Tennesseans, we love our options.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm a West Virginia boy. Like that's my thing. I'm like, guys, I want more freedom. Like this is just more freedom in how you get around.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Anything we haven't touched on? I mean, I know there's a million things, but I think this is just a good conversation because there's so many people I think that are angry right now about transportation.
Sure.
And it's not because people aren't trying to make it better. I just think Knoxville wasn't thought of in terms of like growth. It's a lot of reactivity. So I think that was
100%, which is again, to hark back to it, why this comprehensive plan matters, because we've got to be, what's the word? We're going to be proactive, not reactive.
Right, yeah.
And so again, at the end of the day, it comes down to two things. We have to plan it right. We have to get the zoning and stuff right. But we also have to be open-minded enough to come up with new funding sources because like a lot of people don't know, the money for CAT comes from the general fund. We don't have a dedicated source for transit here. And the cities with the best transit, they have a set aside pot of money. And I don't have the answer on exactly how to get there. Again, I think it's probably a mix of having like a half of a half of a half of a half of a penny tax, but it only 100% goes to transit. But also let's put some Dolly Parton face on buses and let her donate to, you know what I mean? Like it's good.
Right. Well, and also that goes to the fact that TDOT is not the same as Knoxville Transportation Authority. Like there's a bunch of pieces, right?
100%.
So, that's also just, go to the website, go to the Knoxville Transportation Authority website and just see what that
CAT
covers.
Website. Again,
Sorry,
very
CAT,
different. I know it's
the the Knoxville Transportation Authority, there's a website, or is it CAT buses?
We're under CAT's website.
Okay, got it. Got it.
Inside.
So go to the CAT website, yes, and just see. Even I think it's confusing.
Yeah.
Then all that being said, that's not a reason not to figure it out, especially if transportation is your thing. Yeah. But I think it's not as simple as just being like, there's nowhere to park and transportation sucks.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, well, what do we do to make it better?
Well, again, that's why I please, encourage people again, follow my at KTA_Dustin on Instagram.
Yeah.
If you have questions or just want to know how to ride the bus, it's again, DustinTheBusGuy@gmail.com.
Love it.
Because part of it is education. I mean, if you've never ridden the bus, it can be intimidating, it can be scary. Even this morning when I was riding the bus down to Enterprise to get my rental car, there was a part where I've been using this app for years, but sometimes if you buy a single ticket versus if you buy like a day pass, it shows up in a different part of the app.
Oh.
And so it can get confusing because I'm just like, I just spent money, where's my ticket?
Right.
You know what I mean? So again, like with everything, we gotta educate people and also make it fun. You know what I mean? Like my the nonprofit I was just talking about, Yes Knoxville, we had an event last year that we're hoping to have again this year called a cat crawl, where we taught people how to ride the bus because we bar hopped.
Oh,
so we just stopped at different breweries, and that brought out like 50 people, and like they had never ridden the bus, right? So it's just you got to make it fun, you got to make it, sexy. Maybe we'll have like a Chippendales or something. It's just a bunch of hot shirtless men on the bus. I don't know. They probably wouldn't let me do that at KTA. Pretend I didn't say that. But yeah, you just got to educate people, and you got to make it fun.
Right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dustin. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Bye, guys.